Mark. Thank you for taking some time out today to answer some questions.
My pleasure, Asha. I was really keen to get in front of the organisation as soon as possible, in particular because of all the organisational changes.
So could you tell us a little bit about your new role?
Yeah, I'd love to. I've been asked to step away to focus on Know Your Client and the risk reduction the bank needs to focus upon there. Luckily for me, we've been able to ask Mark Matthews to step up as interim head for CB&S operations. Many people know Mark within the team. He's been running equity operations the last 2 years. He's got a great team below him. Allows him to step into my current role and allows me to focus on a really important topic for the bank at the moment.
And would you like to tell us a little bit more about your thoughts on the wider organisational changes?
Oh, I'd love to. Very sorry to see the announcement about Jim Turley leaving. Known Jim personally for many years. I think he's been a great leader of GTO. But at the same time, I'm really pleased about Kim's promotion to be the COO of the bank, replacing Henry. I thought she was a fantastic hire. She's done a great amount for GTO in terms of structural change and bringing in new talent and new energy. I'm really looking forward to working with her in whatever new structure she puts together over the coming weeks.
So what do you see as the main drivers and outcomes of these changes?
From where I sit, the management board and GEC seem to have this ambiguity about decision making with the businesses not directly represented. Really pleased now to see them directly represented on the management board. I think it means that even though it might be tougher to make some of the decisions, having everyone in the room means that hopefully once they're made, they don't get retraded and the bank can be much crisper around the execution. I really hope so because we've got so much to do over the coming months and years.
So John Cryan recently made announcements about the changes in Strategy 2020. Would you like to give us your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think John said that we don't have a revenue problem per se, but we do have a cost problem, and hence the target to get down to a 22 billion cost base. And he's outlined for us 4 key focus areas, one of which is efficiency, the reduction of the number of countries, reducing our client footprint, focusing upon how we can reduce the bank's risk in the KYC space, simplifying some of the products that we offer, better capitalisation, lower RWA usage, and then lastly, improving clear lines of responsibility, improving accountability within the organisation. And I think those are very important focus points in consideration of where we've been in the past.
Could you give us an example of where greater accountability is needed?
Headcount approvals would be a great example. I'm not sure that that's putting the accountability properly down with the member of the leadership team that needs to manage their risk, manage their cost base. So if you get that right, they should be accountable to hit their targets around costs, around headcount, but they should have the flexibility and the tools available to them to do it. And I think that's what John intends to do.
So could you elaborate on what this means specifically for CB&S operations?
The bank needs to get simpler and smaller. We need to get simpler and smaller. We're about 7,000 staff in CB&S operations at the moment, of which 1,000 are vendors. We need to reduce that vendor population. We need to work with our colleagues in technology about automating more of the tasks that we do. We need to drive our own efficiency programs, as we've had great success doing through OPEX over the last 3 years. And we need to partner more closely with the business about working with them on the clients they want to cover and helping complete some of the projects like the KYC risk project that I'm focused on now. We've got a lot of resources focused on that now, but if we get that done, we can free up headcount and we can free up costs for the organisation.
And is there a timeline for these changes? Do you know when this will happen?
Clearly, John set out points he wants to get to in 2018 and 2020. And from that perspective, we need to try and do as much as we can over the next 3 years. And we're working closely now with Mike Grimaldi, trying to agree the CTB budget both for 2016 and that sort of strategic change that gives us some comfort we can do what we need to do, because we can't do it without them. And that I think is where we really need to partner to do it.
So what do you think we could do differently to improve the CTB delivery that we haven't done previously?
Look, I'm really pleased about Mike coming in over a year ago, some of the talent he's brought in. I think Jeremy Dobrik, who joined recently as the head of technology for operations, was a fantastic hire. Really looking forward to working with Jeremy going forward. So I think we've got a credible team now in place in technology. The bank is clearly being very careful about how much money it wants to spend on technology change. So trying to balance the desire to be careful around that investment with hopefully now a quality team, I think puts us in a good place. In operations, I think we're well connected at more senior levels now with technology, but we really need to continue to get deeper and deeper into the organisation so that join, whether it be locally in Pune and Bangalore, here in the hubs in London and New York, that day-to-day interaction is what's going to make us different. The challenge, I think, in the past has been that lack of closeness has meant that business requirements from our side aren't fully understood on the technology side or aren't properly prepared by us. We have to get better at that. We have to do it together as a team.
So you've mentioned there's a huge amount of work to be done. How important are the people with this work?
People are at the centre of everything we do, and I'm massively proud of the CB&S Ops team globally and what we've done in 2015, and looking forward to what we need to try and do going forward. Super pleased with the results of the recent people survey. I think GTO scored more highly around commitment, around engagement, around motivation than the rest of the bank. And then inside GTO, CB&S Ops got the highest scores on all of those measures inside GTO. And that helps me believe that the management team, the supervisors on the ground, the people that do the work, we are committed to try and deliver what we need to do. And hopefully those scores show that.
So given what you've just said, what do you see as your main areas of focus?
Main areas of focus, I think we need strong leadership and clear direction about what we're going to do. So that means making decisions and sticking to executing them. I think we need to be really clear about what we need from our partners, whether that be in the business or in technology or else in the infrastructure, and really clear about what they need from us so that together the bank can deliver what it needs to do. And as I said, I think we really need to focus around risk reduction, whether that be control risk, KYC, etc. Thinking about the incidents we have each day, how do we evolve away from those manual processes? How do we get better and reduce the risk that the organisation faces each and every day?
So given the changes, what do you think CB&S operations will look like in the future?
I think we have to be smaller. We have to be more focused. I think that in doing so, we'll end up with a smaller team, but it'll be doing higher quality work, less manual, less task-based, more subjective, people having to think more about what they do, which I think makes the work more interesting, more challenging, hopefully even more motivational. But to do that, as I said, we have to partner with our colleagues in technology. We have to get our workflow right. We have to get our management structure right. And that the people that are going to get us there, those talented individuals that can help drive those change, those are the people that we need to think about when we differentiate for performance, how we reward our talent, because they'll be the people who lead us in the future.
So given what you've just said about rewards, will this affect compensation?
Look, I think John has been very clear that having flagged that he's not going to pay a dividend, that there should, if we're going to be fair, also be impact upon the staff in terms of compensation at the year end for 2016 and potentially into 2017. I do think that that's fair if you look at it from a broader picture. We shouldn't expect the shareholders to take all of the pain. At the same time, we don't know what that means in practice at this point. We need to see the results of the firm before there's any impact can be understood. But people should take that message as an opportunity to reset their expectations around comp going into the year end. It's clearly a tough year for the bank, and it's going to be our job to make sure that we do reward that talent appropriately, we do differentiate, even in a tough year.
So if we can move now on to control, there's been a lot of focus internally and externally in the press. Could you tell us where you think we could improve?
It's my view that improving our control environment is a win-win opportunity. If we focus on the right things to do so, improved automation, reduction of manual work, building in system controls rather than 4-eye checks, we should end up in a situation where we have fewer operational incidents, fewer operational losses, and actually we'll end up with a smaller team than we currently have. So we'll end up better controlled and a lower cost base. And I think that is a win-win situation if we can do it correctly. To get there, I think it's really important that we instill the right positive risk culture in the team, though. We do need people to be comfortable escalating. We do need people to be comfortable highlighting incidents and trying to get to the bottom of them. And we do need people to really try and focus on how we remediate long-term rather than an additional layer of 4 eyes or 6 eyes or 8 eyes. If we do those changes properly, we will get better from a control perspective, and we will also get better from a cost perspective.
So could you give us an example?
Finance, we're about to write off a long outstanding Nostro break, only about 5 million, but it went back to sort of 2005, 2006. And with the business, we put together a SWAT team in loan ops, and they researched it. They talked to JP Morgan, they talked to our clients who were involved in that particular transaction. We got to the bottom of it, cleared the break, and we didn't have to take a 5 million loss. I think that's great teamwork, across the different functional teams, business, finance, and ops, and it's a great outcome for the bank. And we do those types of things throughout the organisation, each and every day. All of those things need to be focused on because the bank can't afford to write off 5 million just because we didn't get to the bottom of a particular control weakness.
So thank you, Mark. This has been really informative. Is there a final message that you'd like to give to the team?
The way I think about it is in 2008, 2009, CB&S itself went through massive changes after the financial crisis. And what we're seeing now is effectively the bank going through similar level of change across all parts of the organisation. And that's challenging to do so much at once. And to do that much, requires real will, real tough decision making, and real focus on execution. We all have our part to play. The management board are only 10 people. The CEO is only one person. They cannot do this alone. We all have to accept that we have a part to play in making this bank what it could and should be going forward. That excites me, that motivates me. I want to be part of that. I hope all of you do too. It's that team spirit around the end goal that's going to get us there. So I look forward to telling everyone more about how we execute upon that. And let me thank you for taking the time to do this with me today, Aisha. Thank you.
Thank you.